in English, generally, someone's profession, their nationality, their religion, their political affiliation is part of the definition of who they are. Okay? And definitions are normally subordinate in English. So I'm like on my radar, if students put a person's job in the main clause, I will get on them for that and say, is that really what the most important thing you want to say about him? And is it equal to the fact that he speaks 5 languages? And a lot of the times they will say, oh, no, it's, I wanted to focus on the fact that he speaks 5 languages. But this is harder for them to even question themselves about, for some reason. Maybe cultural, depending on the language background, they don't see it as a definition. Whereas in English, North American English anyway, we see it as a definition, and for us, definitions are subordinate. So, most likely, we do this in the appositive structure, okay? And this is the most important. It's in the appositive. The appositive is in the middle of the sentence, so it has less emphasis by its place and by its structure. It's a medium level subordination, but within the medium level, it's at the low range. So this is not so important if we do it this way. Now, for some reason, under particular circumstances, you want to emphasize this a little bit more. It's possible to do this, but I always put a circle around it and ask them to think about it anyway. Because when we do this, we're saying this is essential, and it should somehow impact on the meaning here. It's very hard for me to get that level of subordination here. I don't know. I don't have a portfolio of everything I've ever written and I can't say I've never done this, but it would be rare.
Probably the last part should be more connected to something that the professor did in relation to teaching history. Why is this essential to understand this? And maybe there's something, but I don't know. All right, so we're going to stay here for just a little bit before we move on to the next description and something else that we're doing. But I want to give you another example. Okay, 2 sentences. He's Polish, he speaks 5 languages. What happens when we do this? Do all Polish people speak 5 languages?
In spite of.
Oh, because he's Polish.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God.
What we're saying is,
Okay.
this is essential. You must know this, and it impacts this. This is so rude, derogatory.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cultural thing, right?
Oh, yeah, oh.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
not,
it's- I don't know if anybody's from, I tried to pick an odd nationality background, because I didn't want to insult, even if you have Polish background, I apologize, but it's a teaching point.
Like this, Polish would do it in the States.
Sometimes we make jokes about
Yeah.
stupid Polish
Yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
States, like how many And
Yeah.
we say Polak, which is
We do
not
the
very.
same with
How many
the
Polacks does it take to change a light bulb?
Yeah.
We do that with Gallegos, but our ancestors, most of
They
our
are
ancestors
Indian.
are Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this, I put the asterisk up there, not for form,
Yeah.
not for form, but for
Grammatically
meaning.
is correct.
But for meaning, we would never try to do this because it's like saying, wow, you know, he's Polish. I can't believe it, but he speaks 5 languages. You know, I thought all those people were really dumb.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
Yeah.
are you sure he's Polish? Yeah. So that's the level of emphasis
Yeah.
that is.
Right.
And you might not even want to lower it there.
Okay.
Because remember, this is a definition of him. And like the other one, how does that definition relate to this?
Yeah.
Why are you putting those two things together? I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but my father used to say a lady doctor. Did I tell you that? I don't want to go to a lady
Yeah.
doctor. And I used to always be on him, Dad, you know, why don't you just say I don't want to go to a doctor? You know, and what difference does it make? It's irrelevant, don't use that word. It's like this, it's irrelevant, don't use that word. It's not a part of our value system that we think that way. My father never changed his mind. Okay. All right, this is more about an appositive before we go on. All right. We can use appositives like this to give a definition. Okay, I tried to pick something that you didn't know so you would feel comfortable that this is a definition of that, and that this is the main point. It's being produced. That's what I want you to focus on. Okay. I also wanted to point out that this appositive structure can sometimes be used without the comma. The name Bizen. We don't put the name, comma, Bizen, comma. Okay, but in fact, that is the appositive. We don't need it. But we do it. One of the reasons we do it is to repeat old information at the beginning of a sentence for coherence, for overall paragraph coherence. A good technique is to repeat old information and put new information here. So if there's no old information here, we have to create some sometimes. And the appositive structure works well for that. We can also use the appositive structure and a good teaching technique to get the students to use the appositive structure is, at least my students don't use it very much, and they will do this, okay? Which is more difficult to write, but they've learned it so well. But they've learned it without the meaning and use components, okay? And I think when we teach this structure, that's when we have to teach the meaning and use components. But if it's too late and they've already learned it, you're getting them as advanced or high intermediate students, a technique that you can have them do is when they use which or and it's used as a description, okay? And description often involves a definition. Okay? So you can just tell them, take it out. It's an easy fix. It's an easy fix, as long as it's a definition.